Welcome to the Money Hour with host Tina Mitchell and co-host Keelan Harvey. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, NMLS 134871. The views expressed by the speakers on the following program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited. Now, in the studio, local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Friday, December 11th virtual show. Because of COVID, our show is temporarily moved virtually. You can also listen to us on podcast or on air on Saturday at 3 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. And I am flying solo today as Keelan will not be on the show, but back next week. I am your host, Tina Mitchell, bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events in our local economy and how they affect your money. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. We are here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And our lineup for the show today, we have Nancy Johnson of WSI, Why You Need a Digital Marketing Strategy. Great information and great guest on studio today. For more information on any topic discussed, please feel free to call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And as we do each week, we'll start at today with a little bit of money chat.
Money.
CoreLogic reported that homeowners with mortgages, which represent 63% of all properties, have seen their equity increase by 10.8% nationwide over the past year. That equates to a collective of $1 trillion in gain equity, or on an average about $17,000 per homeowner, and is the largest equity gain in over 6 years. Now, this means if you have mortgage insurance and if you've not already refinanced, you should definitely take a look at what that might look like, because you're probably in a position that you can remove your mortgage insurance. As your local mortgage experts, of course, Keelan and I are here to assist in any way that you need. The Mortgage Bankers Association released their mortgage application data for last week, showing that overall application volume decreased by 1.2% from the previous week. Refinances were up 2% last week and are 89% higher year over year. Purchase volume was down 5% last week, however, still 22% higher than last year. Mortgage Banker Association latest quarterly report show 35% of refinance applications did not go through. It is surprising that this number is so high. It's not because rates have moved higher. It's most likely because customers were offered a better interest rate somewhere else, or maybe their property value appraisal did not come in where they were anticipating. Interest rates decreased from 2.92% to 2.9%, which is the lowest in the MBA's 30-year history, and is 108 basis points, or just over 1% lower than this time last year. Now, MBA rate is for the last week and almost includes a fraction of points, or always includes a fraction of points, in this case 0.35% in a discount point. The refinance share of mortgage activity increased from 69.5% to 72% of all loans. Rents are rising 2.4% across the U.S., which is down from 3% last year. Now, Zumper report that renters moving home to live with their parents has increased 50% from last year, and millennial renters moving home is up 75%. Now, this could lead to a pent-up demand for purchase once we pull out of the pandemic next year. The City Pandemic Euphoria Index, which is a great indicator, increased from 1.10 to 1.51, which is the highest since early 2000. Anything above 0.41 is considered euphoria. So we are almost 4 times that level. Now, this indicator would lead to believe that stocks may pull back due to this. And if this does occur, we could see money come into the bond market, which would pull mortgage-backed securities higher, trading higher, moving mortgage rates down even lower than where they're at now. CoreLogic reported that their loan performance insights for the month of September showing that 6.3% of mortgages were 30 days or more delinquent, down from 6.4% last month. Now, loans 60 to 89 days past due dropped from 0.8% to 0.7%. Loans that are seriously delinquent or 90 days or more decreased from 4.3% to 4.2%. Homes and foreclosures remain stable and very low at 0.3%. Now we're seeing improvements across all areas of delinquency. One foreclosure, though, is too many. However, when you factor in homes that are owned free and clear and take a look at all the homes, that's only about 1 in 500 homes has foreclosure, which is a pretty good number. Now, the European Central Bank, ECB, held rates unchanged, however, increased their bond buying program by another 500 billion euros as a second wave of lockdown measuring weighing on the euro area economic recovery. Now, the Feds meet on December 16th, and it will be interesting to see if they will also increase their bond buying program. As a result, mortgage bond prices would increase and mortgage interest rates would go down. Initial job claims were released, showing that individual filings for unemployment benefits for the first time last week increased by 137,000 to 853,000. Continued claims of those that continue to receive benefits and is delayed by a week increased by 230,000 to 5.57 million. Now, the pandemic unemployment assistance, PUA, did drop by 313,000, but for all of the wrong reasons, as benefits are expiring. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, reported that there were only 245,000 job gains in November, which was about half of the market expectations and quite a weak reading as we were expecting. Now, the unemployment rate decreased from 6.9% to 6.7%, which was stronger than expectations of 5.8%, but that was for all of the reasons. You might wonder how the unemployment rate improved when there were 74,000 in lost jobs. The labor force decreased by 400,000. Now, because there were so many more people leaving the labor force versus the job losses, the unemployment rate moved lower. There has been a misclassification error classified as an absent for people that were absent from work for other reasons and not on the market of unemployment for temporary layoff when they should have been. Without this error, the unemployment rate would have been 0.4% higher or 71%. Now, the Consumer Price Index, CPI, which measures inflation on the consumer level, was up 0.2% in the month of November. The year-over-year reading remained unchanged at 1.2%. The core reading, which strips out food and energy prices, was also up 0.2% month over month, and the year over year was also unchanged at 1.6%. Now, other media platforms discourages buyers from affordability wall. The media sounded the alarms and discouraged buyers by saying that purchase volume was down due to an affordability wall. This is not true. Homes are actually more affordable. Let's unpack why the media is saying this. Purchases were down 5%, leading them to believe that there was a less demand because higher prices. This is a week over week comparison, and the comparison is to last week, which measured Thanksgiving week. During the holiday weeks, there are many assumptions and estimates made, often making those holiday weeks unreliable. And the report showed purchases up 9% in that week, which we say that you should take with that is definitely a grain of salt. After getting some of the real data that you can rely on from that level after being up 9% and purchases fell 5%. It's amazing to see how they have this thought. Now, the real figure to look at is the year-over-year comparison, which is up 22% from last year. If there was really an affordability issue or affordability wall, we would have not have seen such a huge gain in lieu of the incredibly tight inventory for last year. So it shows how these numbers are definitely flawed. So that is your money chat for today. Coming up on next on the Money Hour, we're going to have a conversation with Nancy Johnson of WSI, why you need a digital marketing strategy, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
So are you tired of seeing little or no return from your marketing efforts? Have you been burned doing business with cheap internet companies that lock you into long-term contracts and provide no tangible results? Do you want more people who are actually interested in your products and services to find you easily? WSI has developed in-depth knowledge and an extensive network of industry thought leaders that know your company's goals and objectives. When you work with them, you will not only gain the local expertise of your WSI expert, but your strategy is developed based on the digital experience of their local global network. Work with a company that understands your business and provides real results at a cost you can afford. WSI, we simplify the internet. For more information, visit Nancy Johnson at WSIworld.com. That's WSIworld.com.
Wondering what's on next on Alternative Talk 1150? Check out 1150kknw.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
And you're listening to the Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Friday, December 11th virtual show. Because of COVID, our show is temporarily moved virtually. You can also listen to us on podcast, or you can catch us on air on Saturday at 3 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. I am flying solo today without Keelan, and I am your host, Tina Mitchell. It is a great day to talk about money, and that's what the show is all about: how to make money, save money, so you can have a better quality of life for you and your family. If you are listening to our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. We are here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150, or you can go online at themoneyhour.com. And now in studio, Nancy Johnson, a WSI, why you need a digital marketing strategy, right here on 1150 AM KKNW. Nancy, welcome to the show. So excited to have you here with us today. Or
Hi,
with me,
Tina.
I should say.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and a little bit about Nancy. So Nancy Johnson is a digital marketing consultant with over 15 years in the tech world and 10 plus years of communication experience. She assists business owners, CEOs, and marketing executives in leveraging the power of the internet. Nancy also helps businesses of all sizes make smart choices with their marketing budgets, allowing business owners to get back to work of running their business. In the ever-changing landscape of digital marketing, Nancy is the strategic partner, a team to help the team stay focused in front of the trends. She takes an educational approach with her clients, as she believes that people should have a clear understanding of how digital marketing is impacting them and their business. So Nancy, this is a really exciting topic for our listeners to have today, especially in these times with everything that's happening with COVID, because if any time you need to have the best digital marketing presence, now would be that time. So for those that don't know, what exactly is digital marketing?
Sure. So digital marketing is really advertising delivered through digital channels like search engines and websites, video, social media, email, and mobile apps. But these are also methods that we use to help businesses connect with their customers and build their brands online.
So Nancy, how is this different from the old plan marketing?
Sure. Yeah. So traditional marketing would be things like print ads and TV and phone and broadcasting. And all of those things are great, obviously, because we're here today, right? But you really need to be thinking about your digital in conjunction with traditional marketing nowadays. It gives your marketing reach that you need in order to meet people in the places that they're actually looking for you.
Got it. So when somebody comes to you and says, well, what about, I've got just a great website. Why would I need anything in addition to a great website?
Sure. And we do recommend you absolutely have to have a website, but your website is really, it should be your home base. And everything else that you do should be leading people back to that space. So in digital marketing, how we think of it is, you can fix your website so that it's actually helping people when you get there, but you need to be able to get people there as well. So that's why you need a strategy, is to look at what are those other things that are drawing people to that space for you.
So let's talk about that digital marketing strategy and, the importance of that.
Yeah, so this is a topic I could talk on all day long
I'm
of
sure.
why strategy is really important. But a strategy is really about knowing your customers and effectively and efficiently connecting with them. It allows you to send a clear message to your prospective customers about who you are. But it also keeps your competitors top of mind so that you know what they're doing, and it can help leverage, or it can help level the playing field for your business as well. And if you don't have a marketing strategy, you're probably wasting time because you're probably duplicating efforts as well. But a strategy lets you align everything you're doing so that you're getting the best return on what you're spending. And if you don't have a digital marketing strategy these days, you're going to be left behind because there's no going back from where we are. We might go back to the office, and hopefully that will be sooner rather than later. But now a majority of people are online and will continue to be online. So you have to have that strategy in place.
Yeah, 100%. So what do you say to smaller business owners that come to you and say, well, God, I thought digital marketing is for the big companies. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just a little company. Why would I need that?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I think it's probably it's more important for a smaller business to have a strategy. For larger companies, yeah, they do need a strategy, but the fact is that a few $1,000s or a customer here or a customer it's not really going to break them. For a smaller company, though, it can mean the difference, all the difference, right? So you
Yes.
need to have that strategy in place so that are you making the right investments? Otherwise your business is going to flounder.
Yeah, and plus with the larger companies, I mean, they already have that big brand name, and where your
Mhm.
smaller companies, so to get your brand and your message out there, there's no better way than digital marketing, right?
That's right. And, I think part of it too is, you got to remember people are only in the mode to buy about 8% of the time. And so that other 92% of the time, they need to know who you are, because when they get ready to buy, that's who they're going to go with, is the person that's been out in front of them.
Yeah, when we all know that as business owners, it's just connecting those dots there. That I mean, you have to be out there, and you have to be out there soon enough. So uh, when that buying time comes, they're thinking about you, and you're top of mind from all the marketing that's happened prior to that.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Mhm.
So, Nancy, there's a lot of providers that specialize in search engine optimization, or SEO, and paid search, PPC, and they seem pretty cost effective. Why shouldn't someone just go with that?
Well, I mean, you can absolutely, you can invest in one thing or another, but you're typically not going to get something that's looking at the full picture.
Mhm.
And what ends up happening is that yes, it does appear to be cost effective, but the fact is that it's really costing you in the end. Because here's a good example. Like, for example, if you're doing paid search and you're not looking at your search engine optimization at the same time, you could really be paying extensively for a long period of time to keep yourself in front of people. Whereas when you're doing search engine optimization, when you're doing SEO properly, it's creating this organic search where people are able to find you without you paying necessarily for the ad to show them, right?
Yeah.
And it also keeps you from having to continually invest that higher amount in paid search. So if you're able to get your organic up to a certain point, then you can start looking at, do I really need to be investing the same amount in paid? Or can I, try some different things in paid, right? And so it allows you to sort of look at those things. Another great example is like if you're, for example, let's say you're getting great reviews on Google, but you're only looking at, at paid search, and you're not leveraging those reviews that could be, sending other customers to you. Maybe you're sending a great email communication every month, but people can't find you online, so that's where a strategy really comes in. Is it gives you that whole picture. It lets you see, okay, how are these things all connected? And whether or not you choose to invest in those things, at least and you know where to start as well.
Yeah, makes sense. And isn't that true, so true? I mean, anything that you're doing, if you do it the right way, it may seem like it's more upfront. However, in the long run, it saves you so much money. So I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely.
So Nancy, let's talk about your company and how you're helping strategize in that plan. What does that look like?
Sure. So when somebody calls me, the first thing I like to do is get a discovery session with them, and that discovery session is really about examining what they're currently doing, what and where they think that digital marketing can help them, and we really dive deep into that. And then I go away, I take that information, I kind of put it together for them, and then we come back and we do what's called a collaboration session, and we just look at what are some of the solutions that we came up with. How comfortable are people with those solutions? What do they maybe want to move forward to? And really it comes down to what level of investment do they want to make moving forward. And then at that point, then we look at, how we can help them with implementation.
Okay. And what about the timeline? How long should this process typically take?
So to look at their strategy and figure out where they need to go, it's usually 3 1-hour meetings just to create the strategy.
Okay. And so and then they're ready to go to market with that strategy?
Typically, yeah, we can start off a plan. Now, with that said, I will say, when you're looking at SEO and paid search, those types of things, you really want to give yourself probably about 6 months to really start seeing results. And I think that's probably another expectation that people don't understand going into this. You've got to give yourself time to be able to see the results happening, right?
Well, and if you're listening today, I mean, if you think about any other marketing that you do for your business, it's the same thing. I mean, if back in the day when it was your mail marketing campaign, I mean, you really had to farm and mail, and that was even longer. You could be looking at a year or 2 years
Right.
to really be able to determine and get enough of the results that were coming back that would pay for the marketing. And so, digital, it sounds like it's a lot quicker. The difference between 6 months and a year or 2 years is a lot quicker response, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And realistically, I mean, with paid search, you're probably going to start with seeing results within the first few weeks, right? But, to see like really major results, you want to give it that time for sure.
Yes. All right. So, Nancy, what should someone expect to spend on an average for digital marketing?
Well, we often advise people you really should be thinking about spending 8% of your revenue on marketing. And for new companies, you should be looking at 10 to 12% when you're starting off. But with that said, I will say one thing that people tend not to look at with their digital marketing that they really need to be looking at is, what is the lifetime value of your customer? What is it costing you to acquire that customer? Because if you're not thinking about those things as you're building your strategy, you could be in a lot of trouble. Either you'll be underspending or you may be overspending as well, right?
Yeah.
So for example, if you're selling a house for 500K and you make 1% on that sale, what does that mean to you? How much are you willing to pay in order to make sure that you've got that customer in the door? And that's really how you need to be thinking about a digital strategy. That is where the investment comes in. That's where the return on your investment comes in, right? So
Yes. And then, kind of talking about this as well, that if you know that on an average you have, 20% of your clients that you work with are going to be introducing you to a new, all of that, and the return clients on that, you can look at that. What is, just like you're saying, I mean, what does that one client really mean
That's
altogether,
right.
right?
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's a good point, because people are always like, what am I going to close, or what am I getting product and service out of this marketing that first time? However, it's so much more than that.
It really is. Yeah.
Yes. So what kind of results would you expect to get from your digital marketing?
Yeah, this is an interesting question. And it's also one of the areas that I feel bad for people, because they get caught up. A lot of the competition will say, hey, we can get you this many leads,
Mhm.
but you've got to keep in mind that those results are probably they're based on what they've done for another company, typically. Another company that probably needed a different strategy. And so you really need to be wary of anybody that tries to give you specific numbers. And a lot of times what will happen is they'll say, okay, we'll guarantee you we can get you 50 leads in a week. Just sign this 12-month contract with us. And then, 3 months into it, you're like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I'm going to be paying this for the next 12 months and I don't even know what I got for that. And so I think you have to be really wary about that. But I will also say, when you're looking at what you're going to get for results, that's why you need the strategy, because the strategy is going to tell you what it is that what results you're actually seeking, because your strategy is going to be based on your goals, and therefore specifically what you need to see as results in order to make this strategy worth it to you. Right.
Yes, that makes sense. So I'd like to ask you one more question before we go to break, and kind of on this, it'll be a good place to stop and start back up. Because with all of your years of experience in digital marketing and knowing how to structure that strategy, that in itself is a huge investment benefit in having an expert like yourself do that. When you're going through that process, are you changing and adjusting that strategy based on what you're seeing with results, to see if more results, you can get better results, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's absolutely what we do. And we would suggest nothing less. I mean, that is the idea of a strategy, is that you have a point that you can check back in with. You can say, okay, well, I know that I wanted to get to this point. It doesn't look like that's happening going this route. Okay, well, we need to shift direction. But that's really the value of having
Yeah.
that strategy, is knowing that you can shift it.
And I would
And
imagine with
examining.
oh, go ahead, Nancy.
Oh, no.
I
It's
was
just
going to say,
examining it, right?
I was going to say, I would imagine with the digital marketing too, that there's just a little adjustments you can make. You can try making an adjustment. It doesn't do something, then you try something else, and kind of to get to that magic formula for that particular business. Is that correct?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, but we're going to go ahead, and we'll take us to a break. Coming up next on the Money Hour, we're going to continue our conversation with Nancy Johnson of WSI, why you need a digital marketing strategy, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
So, are you tired of seeing little or no return from your marketing efforts? Have you been burned doing business with cheap internet companies that lock you into long-term contracts and provide no tangible results? Do you want more people who are actually interested in your products and services to find you easily? WSI has developed in-depth knowledge and an extensive network of industry thought leaders that know your company's goals and objectives. When you work with them, you will not only gain the local expertise of your WSI expert, but your strategy is developed based on the digital experience of their local global network. Work with a company that understands your business and provides real results at a cost you can afford. WSI, we simplify the internet. For more information, visit Nancy Johnson at WSIworld.com. That's WSIworld.com.
Get inspired every hour right here on Alternative Talk 1150.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts, Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to The Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Friday, December 11th virtual show. Because of COVID, our show is temporarily moved virtually. You can also listen to us on podcast or on air on Saturday at 3 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. I am your host, Tina Mitchell. And we are here to help you build a strong financial blueprint 1 week and one show at a time. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. We're here to connect you with the guest that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And now we're back in studio with Nancy Johnson of WSI. Why you need a digital marketing strategy right here on 1150 AM KKNW. And I keep saying we, like my co-host is here, but there's no co-host. It's just me. So Nancy, it's been a great conversation so far with you in regards to digital marketing. And, you know, we're talking about costs and timelines, expectation, and really building that strategy and how you as an expert in your space has the knowledge to get the best strategy put together and adjusted as it needs to get better results. So what tips do you have for people who have never done digital marketing before?
Well, I'm going to sound like a bit of a broken record here, but
okay.
Really it is about starting with that strategy. Look at what you want to accomplish. When you start looking at what you want to accomplish, then look at what kind of digital marketing would you think would help you get there. If it's a new website, if it's social media, if you think it's paid ads, but more than likely the answer is going to be a combination of all the above. But have that idea of where you want to get to. That is such a vital starting point when you're trying to create a strategy.
Yeah, and I think it's important and great to sound like a broken record, because that is the importance of whatever we're talking about. And definitely you need to hear some things a few times before it really connects, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nancy, what brought you into this industry and your line of work that you're doing now?
Yeah, I took a very curvy road actually. I started as a program. Well, I started actually as an executive assistant at Microsoft years and years and years ago, and I ended up going into program management and managing internal and external websites. And it was a lot of fun. I learned so much. But in 2018, I left because I'm a writer on the side of everything else. I don't have anything published yet. I mean, nothing major, right? But I also wanted to do voiceover. And so I left, I went back to school and I trained as a professional voiceover. And then I opened a company called Writer's Voice, which would help writers move their books to audio, but also help writers with their marketing efforts, because I noticed that a lot of my fellow writers, that was where they were struggling the most, was with their marketing. And I just felt like I had the ability to do that. When I opened that company, it didn't quite go as planned. And so I actually ended up going back to Microsoft and I joined Microsoft Advertising for a little bit. And then I got to see the real insides, the guts, if you will, of digital marketing from the Microsoft perspective. And it made me realize that I wanted to have that more of that connection with the customer. And so about that time, I had gone to a Microsoft alumni event, and there was a guy there who said he was an alternative career coach. I'm like, what is an alternative career coach?
That sounds good.
Yeah. So he and I chatted, and he actually, what he does is he finds franchising opportunities for people. And I was like, I don't want to open a McDonald's. That's really not my deal. You know, I didn't realize how much was actually available in the franchising world. And as it turns out, there was this beautiful opportunity with a digital marketing company. And so what it did was it gave me access to a huge team of people and a network to help me build and deliver something bigger than I was able to deliver on my own. And so that's kind of the long path that I took to actually get to this point. But it's a great journey.
Well, I love that. And yeah, and what a beneficial journey in all of those things that you've done to have led you where you're at today, and how that can level up what you're doing at a higher level than, probably a lot of your competitors could do with all of your background, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I'm so proud to just say, Hubbard Radio over our 1150 AM KKNW, they do professional voice studios for our guests for their commercial. You could have done your own professionally voiced studio. You've been there, done that. Anyways, so Nancy, let's talk about what's happening in your industry right now. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening in a lot of different industries because of the environment, so share what's happening for yours.
Well, I mean, I know, and it's hard to watch some of these other industries that are suffering right now. But for my industry, it is really an exciting time because there are more people online than ever all over the world. And I mean, almost everybody is at online now, right? Not by choice, but it's connecting people in new and interesting ways that I don't know, would have happened in the same time frame had this not occurred. And what it's also doing is, I think it's leveraging or leveling the playing field, as I mentioned before, for a lot of businesses online where they didn't maybe have that before. And it's giving them opportunities, especially for people that maybe felt like they couldn't get online before. They now, they may not have a choice, but they also have more opportunities to do that, I think, than before as well.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it's been really interesting to see industries that are just struggling at the highest level, and industries that are thriving at the highest level. There's nothing really in that middle space. You're all in or all out. Now, what's also been interesting is some of the industries that you would think would be suffering at the highest level, like a gym or personal trainer. They're actually having huge business explosion because they've now, as you said, people are forced to change, and this force of change is leveling them up to a space that they can do so much more and so much more business than they could. Now I think people are just going to probably be doing personal training right from their home on Zoom. There's no need to have a personal trainer come to your house, which is going to bring the cost down. It's going to bring more clients in, and yeah, so it's really interesting. And the virtual space, I've been on virtual. My guess is probably 10 years. I started with GoToMeeting and moved to Zoom, or moved to Join Me and then moved to Zoom. And I never understood why my competitors were not offering clients the ability to meet virtually. And then literally within a week, everybody is virtual. So it's just, it's really interesting how that's happened. So let's talk about, why do you love what you do? What is the thing that you love most about your industry and how you're helping your clients?
Yeah, I had a client the other day, and it was such a cool experience. And this so encompasses exactly why I love what I'm doing. And when I started off talking to her, she was, kind of negative about, well, I really can't do that. I don't have a lot of money right now. I'm just not. And we started talking, and, she realized how much possibility, and because of the pandemic, it's like my business has slowed down a lot. And by the end of that conversation, she had just such hope about what she could do, and about how she could help her business with digital marketing. And I was excited for her when I got off the phone. But I think even more is watching when we implement a plan for a company, and realizing that it's actually helping people meet their
Yes.
dreams. And I love watching people actually, find their dreams and be able to accomplish them. That is the coolest thing to me.
Yeah, so cool. And they're helping them make their dreams, and then they're helping other people that they're serving make their dreams, and it has that ripple effect. Definitely a beautiful thing, Nancy. Well, coming up next on the Money Hour, continued conversation with Nancy Johnson of WSI, why you need a digital marketing strategy, right here in 1150 AM KKNW.
So are you tired of seeing little or no return from your marketing efforts? Have you been burned doing business with cheap internet companies that lock you into long-term contracts and provide no tangible results? Do you want more people who are actually interested in your products and services to find you easily? WSI has developed in-depth knowledge and an extensive network of industry thought leaders that know your company's goals and objectives. When you work with them, you will not only gain the local expertise of your WSI expert, but your strategy is developed based on the digital experience of their local global network. Work with a company that understands your business and provides real results at a cost you can afford. WSI, we simplify the internet. For more information, visit Nancy Johnson at WSIWorld.com. That's WSIWorld.com.
Going our own way every day. Alternative Talk 1150.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts, Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to The Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Friday, December 11th virtual show. Because of COVID, our show has temporarily moved virtual. You can listen to us on podcast. You can also catch us on air on Saturday at 3 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. I am your host, Tina Mitchell. Bringing in to studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market, everything regarding your money. We are here to help you build a strong financial blueprint. And now back in studio, Nancy Johnson of WSI, why you need a digital marketing strategy right here on 1150 AM KKNW. So, Nancy, we've had a great conversation around what you do, the benefits of digital marketing. And if you're just tuning into the show right now and you've missed our conversation here with Nancy, you'll definitely want to go and listen to it on podcast or on our site, because she's shared some really valuable information around digital marketing. Talked a little bit about why she loves what she does and helping serving her community with her products that she has to offer. Nancy, how are you best serving your clients right now that sets you apart from your competitors?
Well, we'll start with the competitors. So I think, for a lot of them, they're just missing the whole picture. And even when they are seeing the whole picture, they lack the resources to successfully implement a full plan. And that's where WSI just shines, because we're able to help clients not just see their challenges, but then meet them with actual real life solutions, right? Yeah. So that's where we really differentiate ourselves.
Yes, that's wonderful. So Nancy, what past life experience has influenced you to do what you do today?
Well, as I mentioned, my time at Microsoft was a huge influence on me, and a really great experience. I love what their culture has become, and I got to help a lot of people at Microsoft. But when I realized that I had the ability to create a really good strategy to help people build their dreams, it was such an exciting day for me. I think that for me was just a huge turning point, because now I get to live my dream every day, and I feel so fortunate, to be able to do that. So, yeah.
Yeah, my personal motto is live your dream now. And it's about embracing every second of your day. It's not about reaching from, some extraordinary life. It's about being in the moment and embracing every second. And through that process, you live an extraordinary life. And I always say it's, when you're in business and you have a product and service that you offer that helps with business, that helps them live their dream now, because it's releasing emotional stress that they have attached to their business, whether it's efficiency. I'm a time manager as an efficiency coach, or if it's marketing like what you do, digital marketing, that you can help them level up their leads that are coming in to release the emotional stress about where's that next client going to come from. So yeah, it really is a beautiful thing to be in that space. So Nancy, what difficulty have you experienced in your business or in your life that you have overcome it? And, what lesson did you take away from that difficulty?
Yeah, it's interesting what you just said because it really encompasses my answer here. I was terrified of doing sales. I, I'm a great PM, a project manager, program manager, and I'm great with strategy. I'm even good with marketing, right? But to executives, because that's partially what I did at Microsoft, right? Um, but I always thought of sales as pressuring somebody to buy something, and it literally would make me queasy. It would make me sick to my stomach to think about doing it. And when it occurred to me that people were actually looking for the solutions that I had, sales became something totally different. I think, but I had to actually mentally get over that thought process of sales being something sleazy, I guess. And so yeah, that was a pretty big issue for me.
Yeah. Well, and I like what you said with mindset, because really everything's around mindset.
Mhm.
It's you have to create that mindset for yourself to where you're going to be able to maximize whatever it is that it is. And I think a good word to use and to replace with sales, because sales, just the word in itself, has a salesy attachment to it. So it's really an offering. I mean, we have something that we are offering. We're offering a product or a service that can make a difference in someone's life that is in need of that product and service. And so that's what I like to say, to myself. And I'm not selling anything. I'm making an offer that's
Yes.
going to make a difference in someone's life. Just as you said, with your product, you're helping them live their dream. And then in return, they can help others live their dream as well. And so we're all here to make a difference in our community by the offerings that we have. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For
Yes.
sure. Mhm.
So, what are you passionate about, Nancy, outside of business? Because we all have a life that we live outside of business, right?
Do we?
They're intermingled, but yes, somewhat.
Well, I think I mentioned I love voiceover. I love writing, and I'm big into public speaking. I'm an okay cook. I am not a good baker, but I am a great cook. And I also am a skier, so I love to race, and I used to teach skiing, and so I'm hoping to get back to that one of these days because it's a lot of fun. But
So
I
skiing, water skiing or snow skiing?
snow skiing, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
no water skiing.
No, it's been a while since I've been on water skis, and
Okay.
the Northwest, you gotta embrace the cold here. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess you probably wouldn't be mentioning skiing at this time of year if we were talking about water skiing, but
that's yeah. Well, maybe it's my dream to go to Hawaii and water ski, although it isn't. It
yeah.
isn't.
Yeah, I was just in Zihuatanejo a few weeks ago, Mexico, and we were staying in a little local space, and it was really big for uh, oh, I lost my word here. When you go out on the ocean and you surf, it was really big for the surfers.
Oh
And
yeah.
I mean, they're hardcore in this. And, we went up and watched, some of the, where some of the surfers were going. That was they could get really huge waves. And I was like, oh my gosh, that takes a lot of guts to be out there. I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, to each their own, right?
Yeah, my husband's a surfer, and maybe one day. But I'm a redhead, so the sunshine and me, we
Doesn't have a
can
good
stay
fit.
at a distance.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. So you talked about public speaking. I share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I've always been one to love the stage, but I found that public speaking it's such a great opportunity to help teach people, and really that's ultimately I love anytime that I'm able to share what I know, or vice versa. I love learning, right? So, but the teaching bug, my dad was just an awesome teacher, and I think I got that from him. But public speaking really gives you that space where you can help bring people along in the journey. And especially with digital marketing, I find it can be such a scary topic for people. And I think public speaking gives you that opportunity to really bring people along in the journey and make them realize, it's you've got control here. This gives you control over, finding the right client, finding the right customer.
Yeah.
And, so I'm looking for any avenue that I can to help share that message with people.
I didn't have this question for you today, but I want to ask it in our conversation here. So in your digital marketing strategy, because we always talk about story, and people have a story, their story connects to their product and their service most of the time. There's how much do you advise in getting into the storytelling side of it for the owner, of the person that's marketing their business, and how do you tie that in to their product and service, and do you advise that through the digital marketing space?
Yeah, that's really interesting because there are several different ways you can look at it, right? So blogging is a huge thing right now. It has been for quite some time.
Video blogging
But
or blog blogging?
both.
Okay.
But it gives people an opportunity to really kind of share, not just share their story, but also share their expertise. And that's kind of where we suggest, when you're telling your story, that's a great place to start. Is getting those blogs set up and having that regular interaction with people where you're sharing that information and your story. But when it comes to your website, you want to remember it is about your client. And I have watched so many people and they want to tell their whole story, and their story is beautiful, but you need to keep it short because
Yes.
realistically your clients are coming to your website because they have a need, they have something that they're trying to solve, and that's what you want to be focused on so that you can help solve that for them, right?
Makes
Because
sense.
otherwise they're, as much as cool as your story might be, they're probably going to take a look at it and go, I need somebody who can actually get me what I need, so
Exactly. So you have to make sure that you have that balance. That makes
it is.
total sense. Yes. So Nancy, what single project or task would you consider has been most significant and provided the most successful outcome in your business?
I think for me, it's maybe not a project or a task necessarily, but the idea of connecting people has been huge for me. Along so many lines. And it's not just what I do every day within digital marketing of connecting people to the right product, the right audience, right? It is also, it's what my business is based on. Networking and connecting with people and connecting people is really where it's at, because you and your business, you can take it so much further with the help of the people in your community. And it's amazing where you're able to help people connect, right? If just by listening to what's going on with them and understanding, you make those connections for people, and it has this, as you said before, it has this ripple effect that just feeds everything, right?
Yeah. And I'm when I'm coaching, I'll tell business owners, and you need to connect with people that need your product and service. That's a given. The magic sauce is when
Mhm.
you get them connected to each other. That's what it's about. How through your product and service are you able to get people connected together? And that's really what is going to make a difference in, you know, in them working with you versus maybe one of your competitors. So, Nancy, what about the best tip that you can give on what not to do when it comes to digital marketing? We already talked about don't make it all about you. So that's a
Yeah.
big tip. Don't make it all about you. If you're going to put something in there about your story in order to have an emotional connection to the person that wants to learn about your business and goes, wow, I have emotional connection there. Outside of that, don't make it about you, make it about the person that's looking for your product and service. So that would be a tip that we've already taken away from you today. What would be another one on what not to do?
So what not to do? Boy, I think one of the things where people really get in trouble, and it sounds a little obscure, but it really isn't, unfortunately, is people will go out there and, they take a look at Google and they go, okay, well, I'm going to throw some keywords out there that I think, people are going to search for me for. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is that they spend an awful lot of money where they shouldn't be spending money. And so I think you have to be really cautious about what you're doing out there when it comes to paid search. So I would say just be really careful.
Okay, well, it's great advice. So you have to be willing to spend money to make money. We know that, but you have to spend smart money.
That's right.
So, do your research, make sure that you're talking with a company like we have here with Nancy that is not making you guarantees and promises that you're stuck in a 12-month contract and you're going to be out a lot of money, going in there and buying through, keywords that you're going to spend lots of money and that doesn't give results. So just do your research. And really that's what, the show's all about. If you're listening today, the why behind creating this show was to provide the best of the best experts in our local market on everything that you need when it comes to your money, your product and services. And I couldn't think of somebody better to bring in, Nancy, than you to represent the digital marketing space. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you again for being here today.
Thank you, Tina. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. It was an honor to be able to interview you. And that's our show for today. I am your host, Tina Mitchell, your local mortgage expert, signing off for the day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we, Keelan and myself, look forward to talking with you more money next weekend, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, NMLS 134871. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Highlands Residential Mortgage.